You are watching
Rarely Reserved,
a Star Wars Shatterpoint podcast.
I am Charles, also known as Omnus.
And I am Sin.
Welcome back, Sin.
Thank you.
It's been longer for me than it has been for the listeners. I think that's been the hard part. They've only been like missing you for like 1 week.
Yeah.
But I've been missing you longer.
Yes, I've same because man, was I gone a while. I think that we did the right thing in like pre-filming and then having something because I was sad about the length of time. So
yeah. Well, Dizzard came by and he got to record with me. We did not have working soundboards, though. You will notice on your tablet, I set him up a soundboard.
You did? And he didn't? That's too bad.
It's set up separately, so it's totally different buttons. So, but I'd like totally designed a soundboard for him, and then multiple things were not working, and I was just like, yeah, exactly. But we had a good episode in the sense that I was surprised that he stayed on topic with me. He's a lot more like bounce around, but I think I just picked a topic he was so excited to talk about. We were very focused. It's slightly off topic. Well, it's on topic, but I meant to bring it up later. We did a whole episode on Balin lists, and I know you have the Balin box and you've painted the HKs. I would love to see what you come up with Balin.
Like as a list?
Yeah. Because you've already painted the HKs.
Yeah.
And you're going to paint Shin, who's like basically a little witch girl.
Yeah.
So, and Balin, you refer to him as Silver Fox.
Yeah. Okay. I was going to say, I have like 3 mental nicknames. Which one are you?
Okay. What are the other 2 besides Silver Fox?
Well, Batty Balin.
Okay, Batty Balin. I like that.
Yeah,
I like
Batty
that
Balin,
one.
Silver Fox, and God, I think like the other one I'm ashamed of, but
What? Okay, can you?
He's a Silver Fox. He's a Batty. Call him Daddy. Like
Okay. I mean, there is a podcast, Call Me Daddy.
Yeah,
right. Like that's a thing.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
that's true. But yeah, so he's a very handsome man.
Yeah.
But yeah. Interesting. I will think of something about him. I do actually want to paint the model.
He is, for what seems like on the surface, like a kind of simple model. He's got way more depth in his face than a lot of the AMG lines. And in general, he's really fun to paint. And I was reading some stuff and we were talking about like, okay, well, Balin's probably meta, maybe meta, but like, is Shin meta? And I'm like, she's really interesting and she's not the kind of character you can just play a couple of times and like get her. Yeah. Because she does hit and run tactics and like how you play her is kind of subtle. Yeah. But I was also feeling like she's the kind of character you might kind of vibe with. So I was thinking like I was starting to get excited in my head about like what you would do both painting wise and then like where you would take kind of the rest of the list.
Something to think about. I'm excited too.
Yeah, it's almost so a list that I liked that we talked about in the last episode was the Balin box as is. Yes. With Luminara, which you already have painted. Or have you done the new one yet? Yeah. Okay, you did get to the new Luminara.
Lumi 2 Electric Boogaloo, yeah.
Or was it Shock T that you're still holding off on?
Shock T.
Okay, Shock T still needs to get done. Okay, so Luminara is ready. I liked Reva, also badass Sith lady, and for sister, another badass Sith lady. So it's just a Silver Fox, droids, and ladies. So it can be your Call Me Daddy list.
Yeah. That's not a bad idea.
I actually had a lot of fun playing that list, and you really like Luminara.
I do.
So that might be a list that you could try. You don't have to copy me, but I think that would be a list.
Playing lists after I have like generally when you when you specifically recommend a list to me, not just like, oh, this is a good list. Yeah. But like specifically, like, I think you would have a good time with this list. You've been right.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and I feel confident. Like, I feel like this is a list that if you played, you're like, oh, well, this would be fun. I don't know if it would be something you'd like more than the stuff that you've already played, but I do think it'd be a list that you'd like. And it fits your scheme where you get to play lots of ladies, droids, and we just squeeze in Baylan.
One baddie Baylan.
I'd be curious to see how you feel about playing Baylan's identity, because it is a very thought-provoking, like, every turn you're kind of deciding how you use Baylan's identity.
Yeah.
And I'd be curious to know whether that ends up being a thing where you're like, ooh, I really like this. Or if you're like, this is kind of a lot. Like, I don't want an added layer of complexity on every activation.
That's fair. Ooh, yeah. I don't know. I think it'll depend on when I'm playing, if that makes sense. But yeah.
Yeah, totally. Okay. Well, I have some art projects to go over with you. Do you want to, you've been staring at this tray.
I have been staring.
Do you want to, so the reason why I want to, oh my God, please do not drop this tray, Charles.
Okay, there we go.
So the reason why I wanted to show this to you was this was Dizzard. I don't remember if Dizzard figured out the list, but I was excited to try it because I hadn't tried anything without Shin with Baylan. And when I went to grab the Mando models to put them on a tray to bring to the store, one of the coverts, the support unit, popped off its base. And I was like, well, this is a sign that I need to go through and rebase all of them. And I really enjoyed it. And this is probably like from a visual standpoint as a strike team, my favorite looking, like with all of my new basing, right? And like the different colors and I don't know, just Armorer looking like she's standing at a console, like a forged console. And I don't know.
All other armorers are going to look like they're missing something now.
I had people go, does that come with her?
Like, it looks like it should. Like she's like either walking away from or defending some sort of important command console. No, this looks awesome. Yeah, very Paz's little like platform looks great. Yeah.
Have we talked about my HK bases, or did that happen after you left?
You mentioned to me at least via Discord.
Okay,
but I don't know that you went into it in detail.
So I made the things that they're standing on out of part of gantry legs and ingress points. Like, so it's the rungs are all cut off the ingress points basically stuck to the sides of the gantry leg and then like broken apart at the sides. And then I use the rungs to create like piping sticking out the side.
Your bases are so creative. I swear.
Well, see, do you remember? I can't remember if I actually said this or I just thought this, but I think when we were in an episode, I was like, I kind of wonder about how like the guys that I look at that are like really good at basing, if they look at my basing and are like, meh. Like, do you remember me saying that?
I do.
Okay. So at the store on Saturday, Ryan came in and he was like, dude, you want to take a look at my hunter basing? He's inspired by all of the cool stuff that you've been doing with your basing. Where he's like, the way you're playing with dimensions just really inspired me. And I wanted to do something more like that.
Heck yeah.
And I was like, dude, I was legit wondering if you look at my bases and are like,
what the heck is going on here?
It is amateur hour.
Never.
Okay. Well, before we talk about the other models over there, and then I knock over my art project. All right. Are you ready for the art project that I told you about? And are you prepared for how silly this is?
No, well, I thought it was a normal thing, and now I don't know what's happening.
Yeah, I told you it was silly art project.
Well, sometimes that just means...
Go ahead and lift the bag.
I'm scared. This is a bobblehead. Oh, shit! This is the opposite of silly. This is awesome. What are you talking about? Oh my goodness.
So obviously for the listeners who are not watching, I decided to paint an Obi-Wan bobblehead Funko Pop to match my scheme.
He looks so good.
Which was kind of its own fun challenge. Because at first I'm like, man, I get to paint like such wide areas. It's like kind of like painting a bust.
Yeah.
But the bobblehead part is actually really challenging.
Yes, because it woobly.
Yeah, because you got to like hold it while you're painting the hair and stuff. And
yeah, he looks awesome. Ugh. I don't want to drop him.
Yeah, this is probably one of the safer ones to drop. But
still.
Yeah, how this came about was actually that I was thinking about adding another shelf behind us to have another Funko on each side. And I had ordered stuff, and I had ordered K2SO for you and Obi-Wan for me.
Wait, are all Funko Pops bobbleheads?
Yeah.
I've never seen one out of its box.
Yeah, they're bobbleheads. Or yes, they're all bobbleheads.
That's crazy.
Then I wasn't sure about putting in the shelves because I leaned back a couple of times and I was bumping shelves. And so I just wasn't sure if I wanted another one. And then the K2S box came damaged. And so I need to send that one back. But I had the Obi-Wan sitting there and I started thinking about how all the Obi-Wan stuff now is in my black and red scheme. And I was like, do I want to paint this guy? Do I want to pop him out and paint him? And then as I was working on it, I was like, oh, this will be a really fun thing to reveal for you. You know, like,
I sense the dark side in you.
I think it looks awesome. I don't know how Grievous feels about having Obi-Wan directly above him with a lightsaber, but...
Well, also now, centrally, we have your Grievous, my Obi. So we have hello there right between us.
Hello there.
Also, so this Obi, and I painted one other lightsaber this way. I just painted a Luke Skywalker lightsaber, which I was also doing in orange. But I've figured out kind of a new lightsaber system that I like for painting. So basically I do a whole bunch of lines. So in this case, I did orange. So I did white base. Then I did kind of a light orange where I just did a bunch of like essentially hash marks, lines like you're painting fur across the side of one. Then the opposite side, the same color. Okay. Then if, so if I did the left and the right, so then top and bottom, I did in a darker orange. Okay. Same thing, just like lines.
Little hash marks.
Then contrast paint the whole thing orange. And I actually think it gives it kind of a nice fully dimensional vibe where
I was thinking that
any angle you look at it, it looks like energy.
Yes.
I've only tried this with orange, so I haven't tried this with the other colors yet. I don't know if I have a contrast paint that works for all of them, but I think that's going to be my new lightsaber system.
I like it. It does look very crackling with energy.
Okay, well, a couple other art projects here. This is me sticking some 3D print stuff on a Death Trooper Escort base, trying to just play around with other things so I don't overuse the pillars that I'm molding.
Yeah. That's fair. Okay.
But I was curious how you thought those turned out and if they feel like, if you look at them and go, oh, that's definitely 3D prints.
No.
Okay.
No, and I think it goes well with this guy's silhouette. It does not look like a 3D print. I mean,
it's just basically if you see the lines, like if you see the 3D print texture.
Fortunately, because of what you're making, the lines, when they're very, I'm having to look very closely to see them. But that's what makes sense with what it is. It's supposed to be rock structure. Rock structures have lines in them.
Yeah.
So like
it's still like a fallen pillar sort of thing.
But like the lines are very minimal. Whatever you did to prep and prime it did a good job.
Yeah, I did a lot of like coverage layers on it. Yeah. But that was just something I was experimenting with to do something just like a little bit different. And this is
that Bodhi?
It is Bodhi. He had an accident as I was getting ready for the episode.
Bodhi, no.
So I bought these like cheap $1 bottles of paint off Amazon for doing terrain. Okay. And I've ended up sticking putty on the top of them and then sticking models to the top of them and just painting them. And they're like a good hold size. When I was trying to pull Bodhi off of it this time, the lid actually opened and popped off. And so I ended up putting weird pressure on Bodhi and popped him off the base. And so I had to glue him back down. But I was curious that was another piece that comes in like the Apocalypse MCP terrain.
Yeah.
And I was trying to find a good way to use it. And I kind of thought it looked cool with Bodhi, but I was curious what your thoughts were.
I like it. Looks like he's kind of taking cover a little bit and it fits with his general shape of this. It kind of looks correct behind him. I like it. I like it a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, your bases make me realize how much space there is on a base. If that makes sense.
You got to like fill the space so I was going to use that with the Death Trooper. It just looked like the wrong size. You can just set it back on it was a weird height where it was a little bit taller than that stuff. But the Death Troopers are so tall. They're supposed to be. They're like superhumans basically. But it was right at an awkward height where it made the whole
look small.
And they made the dimensions look wrong. Like
you want to exaggerate his big boyness.
Well, like he looked big, but so it didn't look like it was like big enough to take cover from. I don't know. It just
Bodhi's looks like he might be taking cover, which is
right. And I thought it looked better next to Bodhi, and so I ended up using him for that. And I wanted, even though that stuff is like a little bit smaller,
he is so big. I had never noticed that.
Yeah,
big boy. Okay.
But yeah, there was just something about like how you kind of feel some of that stuff out, or like what's the right size. But yeah, I don't know. I've been really having fun with this basing journey as I get ready for doing a diorama tray for Shatterpoint.
I love that for you. I'm so jealous.
I almost considered having our topic for this episode really just be like, let me show you all of the parts that I'm considering for my diorama tray.
That's funny.
And like kind of getting into that, but I was like, it might be a little bit much art for some of the listeners, and viewers. But I had a really hard time not telling you about OB in advance.
I feel that. I always have a very hard time once I am excited about a project, not telling every single person that I know about it. So it's like, I'm going to start a group chat. Everyone look at this.
Yeah, I think the only people who actually know about it is I told like my brother, my sister, nephews, and niece, like at our hangout this past weekend. Which we just kept talking about stuff, and like YouTube comes up with kids, right, pretty normally. And so I felt like I kept referring to you, and my niece kept going, well, she sounds really cool. Well, she sounds really cool.
I'm gonna live off that forever. I just think I'm cool.
Yeah. It was pretty rad. I found out like I felt like my niece and I had very similar senses of humor.
Oh, nice.
And I was also like, a conversation started and I was very anti-AI. And so like later on when it was just them and I, they were like, I'm an artist and fuck AI slop, basically was the conversation. I was like,
no slop.
We're cool.
That's the nice thing about miniatures. It's kind of hard to AI them.
I didn't like when we were chatting about stuff, it was kind of like late in the hang by the time they even mentioned their art and that they liked art. And I was like, man, if I had thought about it and known in advance, I could have totally brought over paints. And I was like, I bet my niece would have really enjoyed like hanging out and painting a miniature.
Yeah. It's so fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I told so my niece, even though they're 17, have a few tattoos. Nice. They all have this like my niece goes by like Cosmic as like their avatar, their handle online, and all of their tattoos look very star, lunar stuff, very cool stuff. But I was telling them how you have let an artist pick your stuff, and I was like, that's so wild to me.
Yeah, I think that what's funny is the only tattoos that I had any say in, like I've suggested, are the ones that I like the least. Everything that I just was like, this spot,
just do the thing,
just do something, I still love with my whole heart. But the ones that I'm like, I want this, I'm kind of like, yeah, that's there. But yeah.
I almost didn't tell you until we were recording. I already told you this part, but I think the viewers might find it funny because we were like kind of prepping for when we do the next Guess Who episode. And you had messaged me and you're like, I would like to print these soon. We were talking about doing more questions. I kind of forgot that I hadn't written more questions. And I was on the way. I was like, you messaged me basically while I was at the game store unpacking up and like ready to head to my brother's for dinner with the fam. And I was like, I don't know how much time I'm going to have to just sit and think about questions. I'm now in family time and I try to mostly have my phone put away. Fuck it. Saturday night, I turned it into a family activity, and I was like, hey, nieces, nephews, I need to write some more questions for this Guess Who. Here's some of the ones that I thought. I kept using your would this character watch trashy reality TV as like an example. I'm like, I think this kind of subjective stuff is super fun. What can we do? And so we were like, we were all
I'm
like
excited about a lot of those questions.
Yeah, we were all like dojoing questions together, and like somebody, like my niece would suggest something. I'm like, can we and like refining it. And then we were like, oh, we could do it this way or this way. And they're like, oh, I like that way better. And so it was kind of a group effort. And there was just some that like I just wrote as they were kind of thinking and stuff because I was inspired. I'm like, ooh, I think this is a good question. Like, do you think this character would successfully complete a Death Star? And I was like,
that's so weirdly subjective. It's
because you were like, do you think this is the kind of person who could basically you're asking like, could they like program manage at an extremely high level?
Oh my God, that's not even what I was thinking about.
Okay, what were you thinking about?
Like would this person like be okay with overseeing the completion of.
And I did think when I wrote that, I was like, that will be a conversation like in the moment, right, with it coming up. But I was thinking in the perspective of like, could they actually accomplish this? Could they motivate people? Could they stay on schedule? Could they actually like get it done?
So is it can't or won't?
Yes, it was more of a like, can they do it? Not will they do it?
Would they?
But I did anticipate like that could be a fun conversation because there's an element where you could be like, oh, would they stall things?
Yeah.
And but I thought that kind of stuff was fun. Yeah. So I was proud of myself for turning the podcasting into a family activity.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Well, did you have anything that you wanted to share from your tripping? Oh, you ended up. I don't want to put you on the spot on whether or not you want to mention it, but you did end up talking to someone about Shatterpoint.
Oh, I
at
did.
The convention. I don't know like, how much of that
I don't know that this person is comfortable being named. I did not ask, but someone who had at one point worked on Shatterpoint, like for work, I met for the first time on my work trip, and we were just like chatting, whatever. And I was like, because I'm there to do Magic the Gathering stuff. Yeah. So we're talking about Magic the Gathering, and I was like, I have a confession. I'm not a card game person. Yeah. I'm a minis person. They're like, oh, I do card stuff now too, but I used to do mini stuff. I was like, well, I used to play Shatterpoint, and they're like, no. And so we like insta bonded so hard about Shatterpoint of like, I was like, they're like, oh, are you into it? I'm like, you have no idea. This is my favorite thing. And so we talked for a while about like things that we like to play in the game, which were pretty similar. And like both of us have crazy work schedule, but like as soon as we both are in the same place at the same time, which is funny because they are local. Yeah. Whenever we're both here at the same time, we're going to play a game together, and we're both excited. So that was really fun. I wasn't really expecting to run any minis gamers. Yeah, exactly. But I wasn't expecting to run into any minis gamers really at the big card game thing. So not just finding a minis gamer, but
finding a Shatterpoint,
and not just a Shatterpoint player, but someone who worked on the game. Yeah. So like, so awesome.
Yeah,
so awesome.
Oh, so I was also meaning to tell you, do you know what my nephew was doing on Saturday before dinner? Mm-mm. He was at a convention doing a card table for Pokemon, buying and selling cards.
Oh my gosh, that's incredible.
Apparently made at least a few $100s.
Very nice.
For just like one Saturday, he like rented, him and his friend like split a table, and they were just buying and selling Pokemon cards. I forget what the local thing was, but I thought it was funny because I was like, this is really your job now.
All the time. Yeah. Well, I mean, I do, we do a mixture of organized play and like actual like retail booth stuff. So I will be at PAX working. That's nice. That's the most closest upcoming local show. But yeah, so you could come see me working.
Ooh, stocks in at PAX.
If you find me at PAX, say hello. please. I'll want to take any opportunity to like, oh, sorry guys, I gotta go talk to these really important people.
Sometimes a social refresh at that stuff is
Yeah.
really nice.
Yes, and we're still trying to figure out exactly who's staffing that booth, so I'm nervous about it, but it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
It'll be fun.
I did for War Machine with Privateer Press. I did demos for them, like a bunch of different PAXs. So man, it can be a lot.
Yeah. It fortunately for me, I think we're at PAX we're doing organized play and booth, but I'm booth admin for that.
Yeah.
So organized play
Booth boss.
people. I'm the booth boss. So organized play people can figure it out for themselves.
Get over there, you.
Filthy little womp rat.
Yeah.
Pluralize that though, like
Womp
all of
rats.
those filthy womp rats.
Yes, so I'll go over there and play games. I'll just hide in the booth. Be
Yeah.
a booth princess.
Oh, speaking of random little things, because I was at the mall with nephews and niece and all that stuff, and I was specifically shopping for Funko Pops to see if I would see anything in person that I thought was cool. I did not end up finding anything that I wanted, but I was very tempted because there was a Grogu box from the movie, and it also had like a mouse droid in the snow. So it was a Funko mouse droid. So it was probably about like that
Stop,
big.
that's so cute.
But I almost got that just so I could take Grogu and you could take the
Take
mouse droid. I knew you would probably appreciate
I do love
that.
a good mouse droid.
That's
So
one of your
cute.
favorites. All right, shall we move into our main topic?
I'm ready.
Or
Is that a bounty puck?
our bounty, our main topic.
Yes.
Uh,
What are we hunting?
So I was having some conversations online today, and like it felt like a lot of people were kind of very extremes in like rights and wrongs and like what is correct. And I was having a conversation kind of behind the scenes, and I was just like, sometimes I forget because I'm a very gray area person. Like I'm always like the subtle intricacies
Gray
in
Jedi?
between. Yeah.
Jedi scum.
Oh.
I knew I would get you with that.
Yeah, we're starting to get to know me a little too well when you can just like hit the jab real
Immediately.
perfect.
Anyway, sorry.
Let's not derail totally. But like I see in between like the very clear like opposites,
Sure.
right? And the very, very like absolutes on both sides.
Because only a Sith deals in absolute.
Yeah. pretty Sith. Probably more Mando, let's be honest. And so I wanted to approach the topic with you about gray areas, both in our gaming, in our strategy, in our lists, in our painting, and kind of just see where the conversation goes. Because you also strike me as a gray area person.
Yeah.
And so I like sometimes when I see a comment, like one of the examples that we were kind of talking about was, even if we don't go back that far and we just talk about Omnus right as MCP came out, I definitely said some things like, this is the way that you play Avengers. And now I'm a lot more in the camp of like, hey, this is how I've been trying Balin, and this is a thing that's been working for me.
This is
As
a way
opposed
play.
to being like, this is the way. Or if I play something and it
Sorry. You, the Mando's guy, not being like,
Yeah.
this is the way.
this is not the way. Or when I try something and I'm like, it doesn't work, instead of just being like, well, Balin's bad, I'm like,
Sure.
I didn't like this particular list. It is not the way.
Wow. Indeed.
But what jumps out to you, like anything gaming, even if it is not Shatterpoint, what's the first thing that comes out to you as like sometimes a gray area that has come up in either your recent or something that just jumps to your mind?
I don't know. For most of those things, it's like the willow that doesn't bend breaks. So like if you're not willing to get out of whatever zone you're locked into, you'll just die there. I think the way that probably the most recent, like, oh, you've just got to bend or you'll break, has probably been like what I considered hobby or game time.
Okay.
Because it maybe was like, I'm either have the whole day for this or I'm not doing it at all.
Yeah.
Versus now I'm like, I don't have, if I continue with that thought process on the matter, I just won't play.
You don't have any free
I
days.
don't have any full days ever. So it's like, if I don't like mentally transition into, oh, this is something I can do for a couple hours and not hyper fixate on it for 18, I just won't do it. So,
I mean, that's a really good shout, because that is something that, I tend to approach things very obsessively,
yes.
very all in. And so that has definitely been something I'm trying to check with myself as well of, how all in. And we had a Shatterpoint day where I was like, I had all these lists to play, or I was trying to try new models that I hadn't played before, and I tried to jam too many of them into a list, and I ended up not liking playing it, where I was like, okay, I'm trying to do too much at once.
Sure.
Let me just pick one and go, I'm going to try to find something that I really enjoy with this particular model, rather than trying to like necessarily jam too many all at the same time. And potentially, we don't get that, like, for you right now, if I say, oh, I'm getting like 2 to 4 games in a week, you're like, that sounds either insane or amazing. But that's still not really that many in like the grand scheme of things, of like how many hours you spend playing like most models in Shatterpoint, right? And so I do think that that's a good thing to acknowledge, where you kind of like have to it's not all in or all out, right? You can go, hey, I can enjoy this on a small scale right now. Is fine. Yeah.
Being connected with something, even if it's not like the full scale that you're used to. So that's what I'm trying to gray area myself into, of like, I'm not either, I'm doing it all or I'm doing none of it. No, it's like I can do some of it.
I think it's funny, because that's probably how people who are having kids feel. You're not having kids, you're having job. But I feel like that's probably where, like, shout out to Accuser, who I know just had a son born just in the last week.
Oh my goodness.
And congratulations to Phil. And I think you whenever have more things taking your time, you go, what is my good relationship with my hobbies going to be? So I think that's a good shout. I did want to ask you about, like, from the painting perspective, as well, because I've been watching Miniature Masters, which I mentioned to you, which reality, if you haven't watched it yet, it's on the Squidmar YouTube channel, but it's basically, Forged in Fire, or one of the baking shows, or Inked, reality TV show, but about painting miniatures. But it's like, it's competitive, right? And whenever I'm watching some of the competitive stuff and hearing about like things about what they have to do to win competitions and stuff, and I'm also like, there's art, and whenever there's art styles, you're like, well, this is an art style that wins competitions, and another art style may not win competitions. And I was like, that has got to be a weird place to be in, where you like decide that certain art styles win. And I wanted to ask you, as an artist, because I feel like it's kind of remember we were talking about how you're like, I just want to paint these miniatures in a way that I want to try painting. Not necessarily something that other people are going to go, hey, this is really cool looking, but something you're like, I just want to try this idea for, something a little bit more abstract. And so I was wondering if you felt like that kind of falls into what we're talking about here, about gray areas between people's extremes.
Yeah, perhaps, like, I don't know. I think I'm in a weird space with my painting stuff of like trying to practice what I preach of like not being invested in what any one person or people's think about what I am doing. Because I am not that way in other aspects of my life. Like, I'm like, if someone gives me their opinion about something and not in the least asshole sounding way possible. I didn't ask, or like, okay, thanks. But for whatever reason with painting, I'm like hanging on everyone's word, like every word, like, oh my gosh, and
why do we do that to ourselves? We're like, let me just absorb everything, even if I didn't actually paint this for this person.
Exactly. Well, and I'm like, I try to think about that with any other thing. Like if someone came up and was like, said something about my hair, I was like,
You're like, it's my fucking hair, bro.
What? I would just like it wouldn't even be like a distaste thing. It would not even clock. I'm like, I'm sorry. Who are you? What? But when someone says something about my painting, it doesn't matter who they are, what I think of their classification or qualifications. I am like personally wounded by it. And so trying to put that into a gray area instead of a straight, like this just is like a
how you take in feedback.
Yes.
Like
how I take in feedback and like who I'm painting for. Cause I think that makes, a big difference. Cause like I generally have a really hard time doing any painting for myself.
Yeah.
Versus like perhaps my hair I do only for myself. Like I'll take comments about it, but like generally I don't, not in a mean way, but I don't care because it wasn't for anyone else.
Yeah.
It was for me. So when people are like, oh, I like your hair, I'm like, oh, thank you. Like that feels good. But when people are like, I don't like it, I don't care. Like it's not even like I'm upset. I'm not upset by it at all. I'm just like, I don't care that you don't like it. It literally means nothing to me. And I'd like to be in that phase with my painting where it's like I can accept compliments because compliments are nice. But if someone has negative things to say about it, it doesn't come straight into my soul. It's just like, okay.
Yeah, I think I'm in a slightly different camp, but still similar in that when I talk to someone about my models, it's hard to like sometimes separate the feedback into stuff where like if someone's like, oh, this would look really good with OSL, I'm like, I kind of like my minis looking almost more like a D&D mini that's not supposed to be like a photograph of a moment with the particular lighting, but more just like this is what each part of the character looks like. And as opposed to like, oh, I'm snapping a picture with, and then the lighting is from here. And like, that's not what I was going for. And so when someone says, you should do OSL here with the lightsaber or whatever, but like separating from the, like, sometimes people do have good feedback that would work with my style, right? Where it's like, something that's just like, ooh, well, what if you use this to like give a little bit more dimension to the blaster or something, and like trying to like have a degree of openness where I'm like, I'm willing to take in feedback to improve in my way, and I'm willing to listen enough to try to figure out if that fits my vision.
Yeah,
but like still filter out and not be offended by the stuff that's like, that's not my vision.
Yeah.
Even if that's something you would think would look cool, that's not really the way I want my models to look.
Yeah. And like weirdly it makes me think about like tattoos. People like all of my stuff's American traditional, very bold, like lines, bold colors, blah, blah, blah. And then I will accidentally end up in conversations where like, it's like people forget that I have these tattoos and then they'll be like, oh, well, it's color tattoos. I don't like. I only like thin line work or black and white. I only like real photorealism. I only like whatever, right? And like, again, I don't care because I'm not the audience for that, even though they're talking to me, if that makes sense. And like, I try to do that with minis. Like when the person's like, oh, you should do OSL, it like water off a duck's back. You're like, I'm not the audience for this feedback. Like that is not an untrue statement. But I'm not the audience for this feedback.
Yeah, 100%. And I don't know. How much do you think that it's just like where a person's at with like their particular painting, gaming, podcasting, whatever, like to get themselves away from these extremes and kind of like exist in that gray area a bit? Or do you think it's just some people can't exist in the gray area at all?
I was actually talking to someone about this the other day when they were, kind of the same thing. But they were discussing their fear of a thing, which I won't say because a lot of people are so afraid they don't even like hearing the word.
Fear of Sith Obi-Wan.
Sure.
Okay.
Fear of Sith Obi-Wan. They were discussing their fear of Sith Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh, well, I really want to get over it, so I should have some positive experiences with fear of Sith Obi-Wan.
Okay.
Or with Sith Obi-Wan, rather. And I think that is a big problem that people jump into with black and white, because the opposite of it is still the extreme.
Yeah.
So, like, no, if you have a fear of Sith Obi-Wan, the point isn't to have positive experiences with Sith Obi-Wan. The point is to have neutral experiences with Sith Obi-Wan. And so the way to get out of being stuck on one end or the other is to purposefully have neutral experiences with it. And so for any of my things, I'm like trying to, like, feeling like I don't have enough time to do anything, or feeling like I'm self-conscious about what people say about my art. The answer to both of those is having neutral times, you know,
Yes.
like not having any strong feelings about something, not reacting to a thing, because from years of experience, it's only through breaking through the neutral barrier that you can get anywhere else. And it sounds mean when I like tell people that, where they're like, oh, I'm really upset by this and I want to change it. I'm like, you've got to feel nothing about it. That's the first step. Feel nothing. They're like, well, that sounds awful. I don't want to feel nothing. I'm like, no. You're not understanding me. The end result that's not the point. The point isn't that at the end you feel nothing. But it's like, if everything you're feeling is like an ocean and you're at this extreme of it, you're this like huge crashing waves or whatever, to get back to like saleable water, you got to become still for at least a second. And so people don't like it because they're like, they have this big emotion about it. And they're like, the idea of the water being still is kind of like really irksome. But it's like, maybe your end result is still a crazy like waterfall and, you know, churning tsunami. But like, if you sat still for a second and you're like, nope, that's exactly where I am, at least you have this knowledge that's like, I really.
Are we talking about the Odyssey now? No.
No, actually not. But
I just want to keep envisioning in my head because I just watched it last night. So,
but no, like literally anything can feel that way. So like if you're like even talking about feeling really strongly about like a Balin list as an example, it's like to know if you feel that strongly, you have to walk into feeling nothing about it.
That's exactly where I was going to actually go to next. Like while you were talking, what it got me thinking about, and this wasn't exactly where I thought the gray area conversation was going to go, but like bringing yourself back to neutral is an important thing. And I think it applies a lot, like even in Shatterpoint, like literally right now, because we just had a big errata and brought the best things down and totally redid some things and new boxes. That I'm trying to remind myself to stay neutral on stuff that didn't work before. Yeah. Right? Where I'm like, well, what did I play it into? Did I fucking play it into Cassian? Is that what made it feel bad? And try to go into stuff again and kind of reset the slate. Yeah. Right? Get to still water, right? And let me and it's hard for me. I'm not gonna lie. Like no, it's hard unlearning is not my strong suit. Yeah. But when I'm trying to evaluate lists and like reconsidering like what I want to play with a list, and this actually specifically came up. Ryan was like talking about it. He's like, I think I'm actually gonna put Fixer under Obi-Wan instead of Rex. And my first gut was like, no, Obi-Wan get Rex. That's how you Shatterpoint, you know? And then we were having another discussion about how maybe Obi-Wan has been pushed out of the meta. And I was like, but Obi-Wan's identity is so good. Maybe you just have to evolve how the list works. And I started writing a new list. And then I wasn't even including Rex in the list, in the squad, where I'm like, I had a different direction that I wanted to swing things, and like, but it was hard for me to like unlearn some of those like things that you feel are like stamped in, both like good and bad, where it's like sometimes you do have to set aside some of that stuff and like approach list building fresh, and that's how you end up with innovation in the meta and that sort of thing.
Yeah, and I think that's can be the hard part that people really get stuck on is like, well, I know what I feel about it. I don't need or want to like have to step away from it. And it's like, again, the point of stepping away from it isn't to change your mind about it. It's to let you have the like full perspective on it, regardless of if you change your mind about it. And usually what ends up happening is people will like agree once they get over the angry feeling of that idea. And then they're like, oh, okay, even from the most like quote unquote trivial thing to the most extreme examples, if you go to neutral about it, and you have to really go to neutral about it.
It's fucking hard. It is so hard.
You can't like lie to yourself and say you feel neutral about it. But if you get to true neutral about something, and then you'll either realize, oh, I don't care, which is good. Or you walk into the like correct feeling about it, which is like exactly what you did with like feeling about Obi. And like, if you had just closed yourself off of like, no, Obi and Rex only, this is my black and white, I will refuse to walk into any other territory, you never would have found these fun lists. So
I still haven't tried this list, so I don't know if that idea works or not yet. But I was trying to open myself up to a different list idea. And I also look for opportunities where, like, so for example, I was just talking to you about that Luminara and Balin list. Obviously, instinctually, I want to play Fifth Brother. Fifth Brother is really good. But I've played a couple of games with Fourth Sister and enjoyed her when I played her, but just have kind of gone, you kind of really have to have the right list for her.
Sure.
And so when a list presents itself that might actually, at least she seems competitive with Fifth Brother, then I'm like, well, I want to start with Fourth Sister because I do think she's an interesting design. And I don't want to just automatically assume that Fifth Brother is the right choice.
Sure.
Because I could easily play it and go, oh, this felt great. I'm just going to stick with Fifth Brother. But let me try Fourth Sister in the slot while I'm feeling neutral on the idea.
Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah. Well, and like that's what I was saying about not feeling locked into black and white things is like, I think list building is a lot more of what makes like your experience happen than mine. And so like the more that you black and white yourself, probably the less opportunity you get to have those fun interactions. So I think it's perhaps even more important for you than it is for me in those terms.
Well, the same things applies to painting your army or your team or something, right? Where I've started to like really fall in love with the black and red. And since I had watched a YouTube video about some like basically level. So the main way that I do my black is prime black, then dry brush. The YouTube video had a few different suggestions and I've tried a few variations on it, but it'll be something like I will dry brush a gray over it. Then I will dry brush like a very light blue, like a blue white. And there's a few you can do like a jade in there and then do the sky blue. There's a few different ways you could do this. Then contrast black over the top and then kind of dry brush white. And I've really liked how that makes black look. And then I've gotten pretty decent, I think, at painting red. But I don't want everything to look like that. So even though I love that for my Republic, sometimes I have to reset myself back to neutral and be willing to just go, I enjoyed finding that scheme.
Yeah.
And working on it and trying some different ways of doing it and eventually kind of settling into it. But I don't necessarily want every single model I paint to be that way. And so be willing to kind of reset yourself and start over and be willing to make mistakes and go, that did not work. We're going to do something different. Yeah. But do you actually struggle with that? Because I feel like you're ready to move on to the next thing and like the next scheme way faster than me.
I don't know. I get attached to stuff. Like I'm really liking the one that I've been doing. And I do like everything to match. I think I like painting stuff for other people because it lets me do whatever as like one-offs. I think what I really try to avoid is feeling trapped. Like as long as I'm still excited about it and would do it regardless, I'll keep doing it. But the moment I'm like, it feels obligatory rather than like fun, then I'm like, we're just done. We're just done.
That's reasonable. But yeah, I've wondered at times like how if this is something that like just everybody can do, like everybody can reset to neutral, everybody can go, well, let's look at the gray area in between these ideas and try to figure out if we're missing stuff, or if that's something that not all minds do.
I mean,
or is it that some people just don't want to do it?
Want to.
Okay. So you think it's definitely like everybody can do it, but not everybody wants to?
For most people, the brain is intended to,
I was hoping for a challenge.
You're supposed to like, there's like this misconception that your brain stops, being able to change after a certain age. That's not true. You were evolving till you die. And, but people just get settled into something.
Yes.
And it becomes harder and harder. And so, yes, it might be more difficult because you have more learned experiences.
Okay, you don't even know about those relationships that I had that I didn't leave when I should have. Yeah. Like, don't pick on me.
I'm so sorry. This is not personal, but, everyone has it in them, or for the most part, everyone has it in them. But letting go of something or admitting you were wrong or admitting you should have let go sooner. People fall into sunk cost fallacy with the funniest things. Like, people fall into sunk cost fallacy on painting schemes.
Oh, yes.
Like, already done this many, so I might as well do the rest of them.
Dude, sunk cost fallacy is so real.
Yeah.
So real. It's,
Yeah, but coming back to a neutral about it would get you out of those scenarios of like, looking at things completely neutrally. Like, I even have done this to myself. This is an absolute self-own, but like, I've painted armies where like maybe 50-60% of the way through, I should have stopped because I was no longer having a good time. But I was like so sure that like I was locked into the fact that it needed to get done. I had to do it in this way. All the other ones are done this way. But if I had like come back to neutral about it, I've been like, who am I doing this for?
Yeah. I'm
doing this for myself. Why? Because I said so previously. I'm not infallible. I am allowed to change my mind.
You heard it here first. Sin is not actually infallible. Contrary to popular belief.
Correct. Contrary to my own belief at times. I make mistakes. And, but like, if I just like am more open to the idea that I do make mistakes and it's fine, like I am allowed, then I would have a better time in general. Just like going back to like feeling like I can only participate in my hobbies if I can just have the whole day for it. Like I am permitted to be wrong about that. And just like, because at least in my brain, and I imagine other people the same way, if I were to admit that I'm wrong about that, it like invalidates all of the times that I could have done it, but didn't because of the rule, right? But that's just right back into sunk cost fallacy of like, I'm only digging a deeper hole every time I uphold this arbitrary law I made previously. So I just need to cut my losses and be like, you know what? It is okay that I was wrong about that. And it is a good thing to admit it and just change it from now on.
Yeah, I had it's slightly on the opposite end, but when I was very hardcore into War Machine and I was probably at like my peak, like strongest as a player that I've ever been for anything, I was both playing tournaments like every weekend and going to weekly game nights.
Okay.
And after a weekly game night, so work all day, go play a couple of games, play against other people who have also worked all day.
Sure.
And I brought like a list that I wanted to test, and then I realized that like I played it into a thing that wouldn't even have been something that I would play that list into. And I was like, and I was starting to like wanting to change the list to like help with that matchup. And I was like, what the fuck am I doing? That was not even a matchup that I wanted this list for.
Yeah.
So that is definitely a matchup that I would have played my main primary list against.
Yeah.
So I didn't actually care about the matchup. I was just learning how this plays, which is still good knowledge. Sometimes you're locked in, right? But it didn't feel like something, and I was like, why am I rewriting this idea? But then I also started going, why in this particular case, if I'm doing tournaments every weekend, do I need to prioritize this after work gaming where I'm tired, my opponents are tired, we're playing in more of like, it's just a different setting when you're playing after work, where both player, it's like you both have already played 3 or 4 rounds. Yep. And I was like, yeah, I don't know. I'm getting so many tournaments right now. Like, that's probably like, I'm still getting way more games than the average person is per week. Like, if I'm doing a 4-round tournament basically every Saturday, how much do I need these 1 or 2 games? And that was a weird thing to check and ask myself in that situation. And that's like a weird, unique situation. But
well, I think I get what you're meaning, because it's like in that moment, it was like, oh, well, if I realize now what I'm doing isn't really what I want to be doing or what I should have been doing, whatever words you want to ascribe to it. But like, if I stop doing it now, it like can feel internally like, well, all the other times I did it, I wasted my time. At least to me, that's what my brain thinks. It's like, oh, well, I just wasted all my time. And it's like, no. So you like almost forces you to keep doing it because you've been doing it. And it's like, that's not how that works. That's a super black and white thinking. You like, something can have been right previously. It doesn't mean it's right forever.
Well, and not all practice is good practice, right? If we're talking about painting and the only paint you have on hand is bad paint, and you're like, this is just fucking irritating me. I don't want to paint with this like Amazon paint, right? I want to go home and paint with my miniature paint. Let's not do painting right now. Or
you can't discount like mental rest as a rep, you know? Because like I'm fond of telling people, if you don't schedule maintenance, the machine will schedule it for you.
Yep.
So like
fucking droids. I don't have a good droid.
You're overcompensating.
Just saying, we gotta schedule maintenance for the machine.
Yeah.
And because those unscheduled maintenance pop-ups are really frustrating. So like remembering that is an aspect of the human machine is very important. But you know.
Yeah, well, we gotta check ourselves in general.
Yes. All of those warning lights on the dashboard.
Yeah. You know, I'm trying to grow as a content creator, and like how I approach gaming and how I approach learning lists, and you know, reminding like the best example I have is like right at the beginning of Shatterpoint, I was really excited to play Darth Maul. I thought Darth Maul and Asajj was going to be my jam. Yeah. Right. Red lightsabers. Let's do this thing. And I really didn't like Darth Maul right out the gate. But it's because I read his card and I was like, Dark Rage, motherfuckers. We're going to Dark Rage. We're going to take damage. We're going to hit people with lightsabers. And I was like, he's not killing people. And then he's just dying. And this is not fun. Darth Maul bad. But that was not actually the case. It was like, well, what if you throw your lightsaber and you dash around these different points and you're pulling people off points. And then in the right moment, you murder Grievous. Yep. Great game, by the way. Game. Yeah. And when and so at first I was like, I said so many times online, Darth Maul bad. Right? Darth Maul's the worst primary. And I let someone else spin me up. I was talking to someone else. They're like, is Darth Maul just bad? And I was like, I think so. And we're both like, Darth Maul bad. That's so sad. And I feel like I'm writing a Dr. Seuss book.
Oh, Darth Maul bad. That's so sad. Look at all the good times you might have had.
Exactly. Is that that's a pretty classic Dr. Seuss rhyme. But then really, I'm like, all right, the problem is actually me. The problem isn't Darth Maul. It's like, I read his card and assumed that I should play him a particular way. And I needed time to shake some of those assumptions and see the gray area that there's room to play him a little differently and like open my mind to like how he should be played. And like that was a harsh learning lesson because I think I came out and I was very definitively like Darth Maul is bad and I was very, very wrong. And that's a hard pill to swallow for me because I feel like in general I have pretty good takes, but that one I was really fucking wrong about.
But I mean, even, knowing that we can be wrong and admitting we can be wrong is half the battle.
Might be 90% of the battle. All right. Do you have any closing thoughts on our gaming gray area? Gray gaming?
I mean, gray gaming. We're minis.
Oh, you wore a gray shirt too for the episode. That was really convenient.
But they think that we're miniature painters. We should know that black and white are not really colors we're using ever. It's all gray, shades of gray. That's the best way to actually translate anything. But I approaching the middle ground so that you can know where you really are at is what I'm trying to do in a lot of aspects. So
yeah. And even though it wasn't exactly where I was taking things initially, I really liked your shout out to like resetting yourself to neutral because that is something that I'm trying to do with how I build lists, how I think about models, right? And let myself reset to neutral and kind of take a new perspective on them in the meta and not rely on my prior feelings guiding me. It's okay if some of those instincts are there, but I think in general you got to kind of go, well, it's a new meta, and let's let your feelings adapt to this current situation, and prior biases may only serve to hurt you now.
Indeed. Wise words.
All right. Do you want to close out the episode?
Yeah. So I go find a gray area and just swim around in it. Just get all gray. Get all sorts of gray.
There's a lot like gray pudding. You're just swimming in gray pudding.
Just swim in some gray pudding. Or silver. Find a silver fox. Swim in it. Do that.
Damn,
actually.
I'd swim me in some Balin.
Yeah.
That's a sexy boy.
That's the real lesson here.
Yeah.
Find Balin.
Yeah, just be Balin. I mean, that was kind of the moral of the last episode, but it's Karen. This is Balin Love Part 2.
Yeah.
All right. Later, nerds.
Calm signal lost.